This is not good enough. Brightburn was released in the colonies on May 24th, 2019. It was released in Germany on the 9th of May. It's released in the UK, I call an advanced screening, on the 19th of June. If you're in Turkey and waiting with bated breath to see this film for some as yet unknown reason, you have to wait until the 19th of July. For no reason. This isn't 1964 where film is hard to make and transport. It's digital. It's not because there's a three-ring circus travelling the world publicising this thing. Beyond a poster on a handful of buses and an email asking me to an advanced screening, I'd have no idea it was coming out. A global release date, both for streaming services and the silver screen, should be the standard for film. It would cut down on piracy and allow the global film community to discuss new films without worrying about spoiling it for people who have not yet seen it for no other reason than geography. Global release dates now. Okay, deep breath, in and out.
Woozah.
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 Hand toys back in the pram, and let's get on with reviewing Brightburn, a film which can be summed up with the phrase, what if Superman was evil? Evil! On a budget of roughly £6.50, which is a seriously limiting factor. I mean, imagine what you could do with an evil Superman. You could force him to hang around with Richard Pryor, blow out the Olympic flame and straighten the Leaning Tower of Pisa, waylay an oil tanker and breach the hull causing a massive oil spill. Then you fight a supercomputer, defeat it with some random asset that the bad guy had hanging around, and then you realise your film forgot to have Lex Luthor in for making another film with no budget, and actually don't do any of that thing.
It is a silly place. Right.
Instead, let's set the film whilst he's still in Smallville. I mean, the town of Brightburn. Seriously? You called your town Brightburn? You were just waiting for a supervillain to show up with that name. But here you have, Booperman just discovering his superpowers and beginning to cut loose. Now that's an interesting idea for the first third of a movie, but instead that's the whole film. I mean, it's great that someone has finally noticed that superhero films and horror movies are beat for beat pretty identical, but that's one of this film's major flaws. For maybe 90% of the film's runtime, if you swapped out Brandon Breyer? No, the supervillain is not called Brandon Breyer. For maybe 90% of this film's runtime, if you swapped out Clint Thrust with Michael Myers, I wouldn't have noticed. And when he does go full Booperman, you see what this film could have been. I mean, the film's got a really solid cast to do the best they can with what they have, but no one's really got much to develop, and we never really get a chance to understand what makes Clint Thrust tick. Was he born evil? Was he turned evil by his spaceship? Was it the reaction of people to his developing powers that sent him over the edge? I mean, the kid playing Clint is fantastic as someone who discovers that he's basically a god, but again, what makes him tick? There's a reason that the Smallville stuff never really plays much of a part in any Superman films. It's because we get that he has powers. Now we want to see him use them. Here though, it's the entire film. I would have preferred it if Clint had gone to the big city and defeated its superhero and ruled over it with an iron fist, or even if he had ruled over Brightburn, effortlessly defeating all those who oppose him by transforming them into jack-in-the-boxes, or banishes anyone thinking unhappy thoughts into the otherworldly cornfield from which there is no return. Oh, wait, that was a similar episode of The Twilight Zone. Never mind. Unless somehow James Gunn thinks the audience needs a film to explain the concept of people with superpowers, because that's one thing this iteration of cinema really doesn't need any help with on that front. It feels constrained by its horror movie beats. I should not be able to swap out a supervillain with a generic horror movie monster and be unable to tell the difference. It's also by the numbers and constrained, and for some unknown reason I get the feeling that Eli Roth might have been a good idea. I mean, with a budget this low, you can afford, relatively speaking, to go for it with the gore and horror. Look, Brightburn is a fun twist on the superhero genre. If there's sequels, then I hope that the filmmakers get to explore this universe a little more. Possibly with Blumhouse support. This feels very much like their wheelhouse. It's good, but if it had really gone for its ideas and developed its characters, then it could have been great in a dark, twisted, sick way, which would have been a fantastic antidote to yet another helping of 12A CGI-infested, focus-tested sludge. So, depressingly, it's an if nothing else. If nothing else is on, you absolutely have to check out a superhero film this week. Check this out. Otherwise, just don't bother. But what did you guys think? And if you could turn any superhero evil and put that film on the big screen, what would it be? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel. It's been a dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.